Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another one Hero Talks podcast. My name is Bart,
My name's Adam.
and today we will talk about working relationships.
Yeah, connected to bridges and boundaries, you would say. So, how to operate at work, why it's important to operate in certain ways, such as corporal norms, corp norms. We're going to learn some new vocabularies all connected to this kind of a topic. So, you work within a corporate setting, you would say.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't. I work in a different kind of educational setting, but you work in a type of, corporate setting. Like, do you think it's important to have bridges and boundaries between your colleagues? So, for example, like your manager, do you have a certain type of relationship with him or her?
So, answer is depends, like usual, and depends on the situation generally. Because first thing first, how you know this manager. If you want, the thing is, if you knew him before you started the job, or you met him inside this particular one company.
Yeah. So when you talk about like relationships with colleagues and friendships, what could you say is like what's the difference in the relationship sense between me and you, friends, or your line manager perhaps, or your financial officer, or your HR advisor? So let's talk about trust. So that's quite a big one. So how would trust change with me and you and some buddies at the gym, or between professional other colleagues at work? What's the difference?
All the time you should be professional.
Okay, at work or
work.
in life.
And at work and in life also, I would say. But you need to have respect to this guy. That not means that you can't say stupid jokes sometimes because everybody is saying sometimes stupid jokes. But you need to feel that this is not your best friend. This is
There's a boundary there.
Yeah.
So it's not your best friend, but you can share things with them.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't overshare, you would call it. You wouldn't overshare. How about communication? So how does communication change between me and you and your friends or family, for example, or working colleagues, you would say? How does communication change? So do you say what's on your mind when it appears in your mind like a light bulb? Would you think, do I need to say that? Do I need to say that, or can I say it a different way? What will happen if I say it this way? You have to think about things a bit differently.
Yeah, and also you are working to some particular business, so everybody around you in this company are working for achieve the same goal.
Same objectives. Yeah.
So you can be like direct with some people who you work with, but you need to take care of the things to not go outside company, like to the client or something.
Yeah, it depends. Don't leak information. Depends what job you have, I suppose.
It is really
if you're working
question.
it's a generalized thing. I'm just interested in your opinion and your feelings towards it. Especially if you're working but Bart doesn't. But if you work within banking or something like this, client and customer relationships, and they're very important because you can't overshare with them either and things. Even though you might know some information, it's against the law to share information with things.
And also depends in which place you work, because if you have open space office and you have just colleagues without clients, you can make some jobs.
Especially if they're on the similar level to like manager a little bit, but they're everyone's similar level.
Yeah.
Because I suppose if you were like a PA, personal assistant, so you're next to the CEO, that's your job to be their shadow, to do everything. That's a completely different relationship than what you'll have with your buddies at work.
Yeah.
So you're completely in line with them and you have to serve those people. So that's different than you working with 5 other people at the same level as you. There's still professionalism there, but the scale's a bit lower, I would say.
Yeah, but also I would say it depends on the personality, because I know a lot of managers who are really good guys, and I can talk about every...
You would spend your free time with these people, because you think they're okay.
No problem at all to go to the... drink some beer. I'm not drinking often.
But some of them you think, I probably don't want to spend my time with those people because they're not my kind of people.
I mean, in every company there are people that you need to take care of your work.
Yeah. How about support? So when is too much or too little? So would you ask your manager to help paint your new flat?
Depends what's the relationship with this manager, because as I said, if we studied together or something and we came to some company and he was pushing himself to be like manager. I'm like under him. In this case, I would say that I could ask, but when somebody is like stranger for me, not at all.
No, you take time to warm up, you would say. So it takes time to warm to a person. So I'll ask you a couple of questions, and they're just like discussional questions. I'll try and get involved in them as well. So, what factors contribute to people forming closer or more connected relationships with certain colleagues at work? So, what factors, so what bullet points, what factors link becoming closer with a colleague at work? How do you get closer with a colleague at work? What are the main factors?
First thing first, you need to work in the same room.
Work with them, or so work with them in
Directly,
any capacity. Directly is better.
Yeah, you need to have the same kind of problems because that's connecting people. If somebody has the same problem, you understand him, he understands you. It's really easy to make a relationship with a person like that.
Yeah, and also be on the, so you could say be on the same wavelength. So be on the same wavelength, and a wavelength is like when you tune a radio in an old FM radio, you find the correct band, and you say it's the wavelength. So 97.4, for example. Yeah. So you're on the same wavelength. So do you think it's also important for co-workers to know each other on a personal level? Why not? And also, should colleagues build relationships and actively meet outside of work? And you can't always say, well, it depends on the relationship. Like, why you can say whatever you like. You can sit there and go, meh, if you want. It doesn't make a difference. But we don't get anywhere, do we, if we do that? But so is it important for co-workers to know each other on a personal level? Is it necessary?
Not necessary, but it is important sometimes, I think, to share some private stuff maybe. Yeah, not like high level private.
I don't. So at work now, I don't. You would say I've learnt my lesson. I've learnt my lesson over the years not to overshare and not to tell your secrets to everybody. Let's say.
No, but that's what I said. Depends on the level which you want to share. Because, for example, you can share that your passion is riding a bike. Is there something wrong with that? No,
but
then, you're sharing your private stuff.
Then you get into the territory of how far would you go on your bike, and then you're like, and then you don't want to overshare. We'll get into that in a moment, but I don't want to overshare. So then you think, but then if it's especially with another guy, they might think, well, how fast do you go? And then it starts to become like a competition then, and then they tell you something like, well, I was hiking and I burned 1,000 calories and I did really well. You're like, I burnt 12,000 in 4 hours on my bike in an Ironman. So then they don't like that. So then you got to be careful who you overshare with, I think. It needs to be in a safe space because humans are naturally quite competitive animals.
Yep. But in this case, I have no problem with that, to share the things that I'm doing.
But you're quite passive and like you do your own sport and you're quite good at, your Muay Thai, you go to the gym, you're an active marathon, you train. Yeah. So like you've nothing to prove to anyone. You're a young fit guy and you do all your things. But someone maybe who's coming back from injuries, who's a little bit old, a little bit fatter, a little bit not into sport so much, they can become quite jealous quite fast.
Yeah, maybe.
Especially when they used to be able to do something. So they're inquisitive, they ask you things, but because you feel comfortable with them, you overshare, but it actually backfires on you. So I'm very careful now who I speak to.
In my case, it didn't happen, I would say.
It's not happened yet.
I'm saying that I'm the youngest in the world.
Fair enough.
So
it's nice to work with more mature colleagues.
Yeah, but
because I think
people sometimes see, because you started to eat something else. And they ask, why you're eating something else? 1 month ago you ate more shitty food.
Yeah. You eat unhealthy and stuff.
And the topic is started, the topic is open.
Yeah. So I'm doing this because because it does this to my muscles, this. No, I think it's interesting. I think life...
I mean, you need to find also the way how to say it. Because you can't say that because I want to better than you, because I want to be better.
But I talk in terms like this. It's like my natural behavior, my natural environment. So I say as it is. And, I don't give free pats on the backs like, well done, just for no apparent reason. Like, if I don't think it's well done, I won't give you this recognition.
So maybe that's the difference, because
my level's different.
I don't really care if somebody do nothing with his life. I'm doing the things that I want.
Yeah, and I am.
Yeah.
But when they question it, I always think, well, I don't need to like tell them all the ins and outs and all the details and put them like to show them how difficult it was. Yeah. But they ask these questions, so then you end up getting into that territory. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but if somebody wants to start at something, do things like that.
But not everyone likes the answers. That's the question.
But what?
Not everybody likes the answers that they seek sometimes, because they can think they're performing at a high level. For example, in the gym, you tell them your numbers, they don't like it.
They don't understand it.
They don't understand. They don't like it. They can never achieve it themselves physically, more than likely. So they feel smaller almost. So then they don't like it.
Yeah, but I would say
this is why it's an important topic.
I was like 3 years ago on the opposite, because I did some sport, but not as much as I'm doing right now. And now people who are sharing the knowledge with me, like they push 100 in the bench, they run 50 kilometers. Then I started doing it, and I saw myself that I couldn't afford it per half or year or more constant working. I started to feel more respect to them. It works in that way.
Because if you don't know anything about this, is just fitness, especially with work as well, like figures and numbers, stock exchange, things like this. Like I made this much in a month doing this, and you're like, doesn't mean anything to me. But if you tried to do that yourself, you'd think, whoa, he did how many? And you get a level of respect, like he must have worked really hard to do that. And it's the same with, I run 5k in this time, 10k, 50, whatever k, it doesn't matter, it's only a number. But when you try and achieve it yourself, you're like, whoa, I'm 20 minutes slower than this. You think, whoa, this is actually difficult. And then that's the turning point. Do you continue or do you stop? And,
Mortal Kombat, I would say, works in the same way. Because when you are just a viewer, you watch some, let's say, famous fight, and somebody who is weighed like 90 kilos versus another one 90 kilos, and they are just fighting. But when you go to some Mortal Kombat sports, and let's say that you are 80 kilos and some 60 years old guy, 55 kilo, hit you that much that you can't eat in next day because your mouth is pain, you see the difference.
There's a level of respect for things. And there's levels to the game. So it's interesting. This is why I like to talk about stuff like this. It goes off on a tangent, you would say. So this is some of the last questions, but how do people balance maintaining professionalism and building connections? So hypothetically, so imaginary, you're my boss, you want to become a bit closer and become a friend a little bit more. How can you not overshare and be less professional, but also complete your objective of making me trust you more and making me open up to you? Because number one, you think I will be a better worker for you because you understand me more. Number two, you think I'm quite a nice guy and you want to be friends with me. So how do you strike the balance, you would say? It's difficult.
I see what people are doing. People can say nothing, and I see the reasons, the way of the work, and so on. So if you want to prove something, just do some things, and we'll see.
I think striking a balance, though, especially in a corporate sense, you would give. If I was your boss, for example, then I would give you a task that I know you could complete, but with some difficulty, and I'd let you do it solo, and I'd give you the trust, and I'd say, "Do you want to run this one on your own?" And you think, yeah, all right then. And you'd feel like you can prove something, and I've given you the amount of rope to prove yourself, but I won't let you fall either. So you're safe.
That's the leadership.
Yeah, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I've given you space to perform, but I also know that you'll only go so far because I can pull the lead back, but you won't fail. So I win, you win, we all win. So we test the product, you're the product, we test run you.
So in my personal opinion, that's the best way to do some stuff.
Because you feel freedom, even though you've got a safety lead.
Yeah.
But it makes me look better for giving you things to do. Your level increases, but you can't fail. Because I know it's kind of just set, but you only get to that level by knowing somebody. I can't just do that to a new employee.
I read one book, I didn't remember the title, but that was like a nice quote that in some Formula 1 or something like this, I'm not so sure if it was Formula 1, there was like a team and like the driver. And once one of the guys didn't didn't set wheel in proper way, and it ran away during the race.
Okay.
And in the next day, the driver asked the same guy to put his wheel again to the car, and the whole team was shocked why he did it in that way. Yesterday you almost died, and he answered that already he's one of the best of my team members because he did a fault, and now he will never do it again. That's like quote.
No, I understand it. I understand you came stronger from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but so you shouldn't be afraid. Basically, you shouldn't be afraid of failing.
Depends on in which way drivers are looking for the people.
It all depends.
Drivers.
Yeah, drivers, exactly. How they look for what their criteria is. Exactly. But I saw a video on Instagram a couple of days ago, and it showed in China, I think it was, in some mountain range. There's some platforms that you call them sky bridges. Have you heard of a sky bridge? It's really high. You're connected with a rope, but you have to like jump from the platform and then you cross the bridge. And if you fall, it's 1,000 meters more, maybe 2,000 more. It could be. It's in the clouds. And the guy, like 50 years old, he jumped, and he made it. The rope wasn't connected. He never knew the whole time. The rope was following him, and it was not hooked into his thing. Wow. He had no protection, and he did it so easily. Do you think he would have done that if he knew?
Probably not.
No, he would have fell straight away because he would have just completely. Poof, So, and then when he looked around, he laughed and saw the rope. He found it funny. He thought, "Oh, I wasn't even connected." But so it's about letting people. But if you're a boss, you have like an imaginary rope, so they feel like they need to perform, but you'll catch them if they fall. It's like you would say it's like a boundary between personality and understanding your workers. Basically, it's important to know this.
I'm not boss, maybe yet, but I like the way of thinking like that. To give somebody space.
It's just basic human psychology.
Space to fail.
Space to fail, but also like you can control the game. You are the game master. There's no game over. You just restart.
Yep.
And there's no effects of this restart. But they think there is, so they perform very well. Yeah. It's quite an interesting concept. So, do you think? Okay. So, do you think that the way we view workplace relationships has changed over time? What makes you think so? So. Think about like how your dad will have worked when he was your age compared to how you work as your age. Not the type of jobs you do, obviously, because the technology's changed, obviously. But the way you speak to people and operate, how has it changed?
I don't know if I understood it correctly, but you mean that already people are communicated remotely, like via mail?
No, like how did the workplace laws change? So like relationships. So how would your dad have spoke to his boss differently than how you speak to your boss now? You know what I mean?
That's a huge topic.
There it is. That's
so
part of the topic.
I would say that when my dad started like working journey in his life, there wasn't enough work for everybody. So if somebody get any work, people were proud of it. Now we have like more work instead of people who want to work, and you can to choose between the companies, but for sure companies want to do something the cheapest way, the fastest, and that's kind of efficiency.
I think though also with the communication side of things, so I know like my dad, his foreman or boss when he was younger, when he was working, it would have been a different relationship to, I think they would have said, "Oh, the boss is over there, stay out of the way. Don't let them see you because they'll give you a job to do." Because maybe you don't have any job satisfaction. But if you enjoy your job and you have a good working relationship with your boss, you just think, "Oh, it's Mike over there. I'll go to speak to him." Because you don't want to avoid him. You kind of like him because you enjoy your job. I suppose it all depends on what you do. It all depends on the job you choose and the relationship you choose to have with them. So if you were working sorry, go on.
20 years, 20 years ago, I would say that people drunk in the workplace.
Yeah, definitely. People used to drink alcohol a lot. Yeah. My Polish grandfather was a train driver.
What?
Train driver.
What does it mean? Train
Pilot.
Train driver. Okay.
Train driver.
Yeah.
And my great grandfather was the same as well. So yeah, train driver. For PKP. So unusual job, but I don't know what his relationship with his boss would have been. Do you know what I mean? So probably asking for more money or hours and a very professional relationship, I'm guessing. Different than what your boss would be with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things change over time. I think if you work for Facebook, for example, they probably just all dress how they want. Everybody's... But there is a hierarchy.
In the Google, they can go with the pets to the office.
Yeah, and it's a little chilled out. You just
or somewhere else.
stop working whenever you want, go to the shop, as long as you cover the hours. And, you know, it's a completely different dynamic. Whereas working in a factory, you know...
Boom,
factory, literally. So let me just give you two scenarios. These are just random. So, knowing about what we've just talked about, I'm going to choose some examples about the potential long-term consequences this could have on a working relationship or an individual relationship. So potential long-term causes these scenarios could have on a working relationship. So a person hiding their regional or foreign accent and trying to speak in a more neutral tone. How could that cause potential problems? Could it be a positive? What would happen? Long term.
But what's the reason? Because he want to hide his...
We don't know. So he's hiding their regional or foreign accent.
Okay.
So a Polish guy comes to work in the UK and he tries to speak really good English and he's really struggling, you can tell. You know, why does he need to speak like he's from London? Why can't he just speak with a Polish tongue or with an English accent? You know.
I mean, maybe to help other people to understand him.
Yeah. So it helps people understand, but what could be the potential problems for him or her doing this?
People will feel that he is behaving like a fake.
Yeah, so it alters their identity. So they're an identity fraud straight away. So you think, just speak normally, we can understand you. It makes them stressed. It draws attention to this as well.
Depends. It also can look like somebody want to laugh from you, for example.
Yeah, it can make a humorous
if you're repeating in the same way as you.
It would definitely have implications, though. An older worker never mentioning their birthday so as not to draw attention to this topic. Mm-hmm. So ageism, that's very common in the workplace now. Mm-hmm. Ageism, they call it, not racism or whatever. Ageism. So do you find that, is there anybody who's quite a lot older than you at work, or are they all like 40 something?
More than 40.
So do they talk about their age openly? Do they make jokes about it sometimes, or is it not mentioned?
They are joking.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, do you think older people sometimes hide their age because they think, I'm a bit old, I don't want to mention it? Not in your opinion, like what you would do, what you've seen, you know.
Sometimes yes, but I saw this behavior in the case of the CVs, because people don't starting to hide their age in the CVs because
they say you should never put your age on a CV, because it can withhold you, and you might not even get an interview. Yeah. Whereas if you can get through the door for the interview, think he's 38, but he actually knows what he's doing. You know, we're looking for someone who's 30 to promote them over the years, but he could start a little bit higher, but he's 38. But I think if you put your age there, they'd be like, we don't need him.
Yeah, but this is also hard to say because people didn't want to put the photos, didn't want to put
the photos of the strange one. Yeah.
Male, female, I forgot the word.
Sexuality.
Yeah, sexuality, yeah.
Him, she, her. Yeah. Well, that's part of all the LGBT.
Yeah, and how far can we go with this topic?
Exactly. That's why we're talking about it. That's why we're nearly finished now. That's what we're talking about. So, one more. How about when women in the workplace, especially in corporate settings, dress more masculine than they need to, maybe? They dress how they want. I mean, women can dress how they want. I'm not saying what you can and can't do, but I'm saying when they, purposely dress more masculine than they need to, more male-like. What's the reason behind that, especially in a corporate setting?
Being professional.
Yeah. Do you think it makes men take them more seriously? Well, I think it does, because if you see a woman in a nice suit...
Depends on the particular thing.
Yeah, I think women sometimes, especially if they're looking to be promoted and looking to climb the corporate ladder, it's better to be as professional as possible. Yeah. Because I think they have a more difficult time than men, historically, and in modern terms. I think being a woman, being in a corporate setting, I'm not a woman, obviously, but I think I bet it's more difficult to get on, you would say. To become a CEO. Yeah. I wonder how many percentage of men are CEOs in the world, not women. I bet it's high. 85% probably,
Probably,
something like this. You know, but so it is difficult. So if they can dress more masculine and appear more male-like, maybe they get taken more serious. It shouldn't work like that, but it probably does. Okay, so not much more to add to this. I just want to ask like a couple of things. So, okay, how important? I'll ask just 3 more questions. How important is it for a team to bridge the gap? You would say bridge the gap and connect colleagues at different ages. So, is it important to do team building exercises, training days, and get everybody involved? Like, I know a lot of people in Poland, they go to Tatra Mountains, they have a bit of a workshop in Zakopane, and then they can have the option to stay on over the weekend, go hiking, go for some beers, get some food. Do you think those type of things are good?
Yes.
Why?
Because you are connecting with others.
You're bridging the gap.
Yeah.
But why is it important? You know?
You feel better in this environment in the next day when you are coming to office.
Yeah.
You know, this guy fall down,
Yeah.
did something funny, I did something funny, and everybody is like laughing.
Yeah, everybody's like enjoyed each other's
Yeah.
company. So there's a level of trust there that's a
Yeah.
bit more. But you just need to be careful not to be the one who's filmed on the phone with no clothes on, dancing on the table, and then you're like the office joke forever then.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So there's a line, a
Yeah.
boundary, what you don't cross, obviously. But people don't know about these sometimes. Interesting one. So why might people sometimes downplay the importance of their achievements and refuse to accept compliments for their efforts? So you would say downplay, so like reduce in size their achievements at work.
They are shy.
They're shy. But why wouldn't they draw attention? So you've created some new code for a new app, and it works really great, and it's an app that's never been changed for 10 years. You've just made it miles better, and it's just so much more functional now. Why would you say, it was nothing, don't worry about it? Why wouldn't you say, look at me, look at me?
I mean, that you need to be like between.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So modest, you would say. It's
Yeah.
called modest. So you're not,
That was me, but that is nothing.
it was me, but it was nothing. So don't worry about it. Yeah. No, it's important why people do that. I think people don't like being singled out and drawing attention to themselves. But there's a limit, obviously. And the last question, let me think about it. So in what situations might cause someone to disguise their true identity and hide who they really are in a personal setting? At work, not in the gym or all this. Mm-hmm. To disguise their true identity. Why do people not wear their skin with pride or confidence and say, yeah, I'm into going shooting animals at the weekend. It's kind of, I've always done it since a young age. But you wouldn't hear a story like that in the office because people might think he kills things at the weekend.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that go shooting, they love it. But it's not for me. I hate it. I would not. You couldn't pay me to do it. It's just something I'm not into. If I had to hunt an animal with a knife for food and I was starving, yeah, I could. But I wouldn't do it for fun. Just shooting birds and animals or something. It's not for me. But why do you think people need to hide in their skin? That's quite a polar story. But why don't they say, I'm an avid marathon runner, like I go a marathon every week? Why don't they tell? Sometimes they don't tell people stuff like this. That you just see them on Instagram and think, I didn't know he was into this.
Yeah.
Why didn't they tell anyone?
Probably they want to be professional. That's the
Why is it professional? I think it adds to your professional development.
You can look for this person in the other way that you looked before.
A different light, yeah, I suppose. But if I was a boss or someone in a company, I'd think I'd prefer them being like this because they probably can take positive aspects of this into the workplace. Yeah. It all depends on what they do in their free time. Are they a swinger? Do you know what a swinger is? Mm-hmm. Well, I won't explain that. So, are you a swinger or a shooter? A swinger is someone who goes to parties at the weekend. Uh-huh. And I'll try to say it in the most friendly, non-adult rated way as possible.
And party to hard.
No, different than this. So I'll try to say it in a non-adult sense as much as possible, but you can ensue what I mean. You all go to the party with your girlfriend or your wives or your boyfriends. You all put the car keys in the fishbowl, but you all leave with a different set of car keys.
Mm-hmm.
In a relationship way, not with actual cars. So
Okay,
you all go with someone,
okay, now I get it.
but you leave with someone else. It's called swinging.
Okay.
So you rent each other, or loan each other out for the evening. So I can't really go into any more details now. I've never done it. It's interesting, but I've never done it. So I need to get a partner first, to do that, a dance partner. That's pretty much it. That's 30 minutes on the dot. So that was quite a good one.
Yeah.
Just an interesting topic to talk about. We can spend weeks talking about stuff like this. But
and always the plan is keep 15 minutes
15
max.
minutes.
It's impossible.
30.
We didn't do it.
We don't do it.
Size 20 podcasts.
But if there's anything you want to talk about on the podcast, put the comments below and we can do a lesson or a chat on it. We're trying to restructure and come with a different layout, hopefully. So any ideas, put them forward. Happy to hear them.
Exactly. This is the 20.
And I can't grow my hair, so don't ask me to do this. Because I have male hereditary bald patterns and I cannot grow my hair. So
I will buy you artificial ones.
I can buy a wig. I could buy a wig, yeah.
Yeah, this is the 20th podcast and we will change a little bit the way of it.
Yeah.
I hope you will enjoy
Same
it.
with the shorts, same with the things. We're just looking to go up another level.
Yeah, we had goal to make 20 podcasts. We are closing this chapter and looking forward.
Fresh start.
Yeah, exactly. Fresh start.
Fresh topics, fresh start, fresh outlook. Yeah.
Fresh outlook, yeah.
Yeah, just fresh, basically. All right.
So I will take a shower per day before next one.
We could do ice bucket.
Yeah. Thank you for today and wait for more. We will come soon.
Yeah, more is in the mix. Please visit my website, adamsenglishschool.com. Where there's more information, some pictures there of me doing what I do and what I'm about and how I teach. I always have a couple of slots free for private lessons, especially like corporate English and things like that. If you're going for job promotions, things like this.
Everything, I would say. Exams.
Exams are a big one, yeah.
So thank you for today and see you in the next one. Bye.
See you.